into your early life, romance came, and it came, and it came, and it came.
So I wanted to share, I've been wanting to do this for a while now, and that is to show and tell, to showcase all of my low waste slash zero waste kitchen essentials or kitchen swaps that I've made over the years. I feel like the term zero waste has become a little bit contentious in recent years because it's apparent that nothing is truly zero waste and makes no environmental impact at all. So let's call these my low waste kitchen swaps, but they have all helped me significantly reduce my plastic waste and just single-use waste in general. If you had told me maybe 5 years ago that I would have made all these changes, I probably wouldn't have believed it, but I think that's good to note that these changes happened in very small increments over time. Nothing was just like an overnight, I need to overhaul everything, because I think that can be overwhelming, sometimes not sustainable. No pun intended. There's honestly a lot of changes that I still want to make, but I think where I am now, I'm in a pretty good spot, wanted to share them with you. Maybe some of them will inspire you. So let's get started. First thing I wanted to showcase is the Berkey filter. I feel like this is a pretty trendy, sort of influencer-y thing, largely because it looks really pretty and it looks very just like sleek and stylish and minimal. So basically you just keep this on your countertop. You have these two charcoal filters on the inside and you just fill the top chamber part with water and then it filters down into the bottom part. It's a gravity filter, so it's obviously just using the weight of the water to filter itself down. I think the water comes out tasting great with the Berkey filter, and I just feel like with city tap water, there's just certain things that, you know, you might want to filter out. They last for a long time. You are supposed to clean out the filters about once a year. We've had this for about a year, so I should probably do that at some point. One thing about this is that it has to be filled up every day. I think this is the big Berkey size. I'll double check though, and I'll put a link to it in the description box. I think it's about 2 gallons. We end up having to fill this up about once a day. Paul and I sometimes bicker about whose turn it is to fill it up or whatever, because it's just kind of a pain in the ass to fill. We use it for the cat water, we use it for our drinking water, I use it for my tea and coffee drinks, and yeah, I really like the Berkey. Moving over to the sink, there's actually a lot of sink type of low waste essentials. The first one I'll go over is this dish brush. This is, I actually talked about this brush in my zero waste travel essentials video because I have one of these that I bring on the road with me. But this is a brush by the company, it's Redecker or Redecker. It's a completely compostable brush head, and then it's a wooden handle with metal pieces. So hypothetically, when you're done with it, you can compost the wooden parts and the bristles are compostable, and then you can just ditch the metal. What I really like about this brush is that when it gets gross, which I actually have one because I just replaced the brush head because the old one was extremely gross. But when it gets like that, you simply just remove it. Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. This handle is pretty old too, but you just pull the head off of the little metal prongs and then you just pop the new one on, and then you've got your brush. I really like washing dishes with this as opposed to a sponge. I just feel like it's a little bit cleaner. And so I really like this guy. To go along with that, I'll show our dishwashing block, or what's left of it. So this block was the first time I had used the sort of concept of a dishwashing block. Basically, it was just a big block, just like almost like a bar of soap, and I had it set on this soap holder, which is, I got this from Etsy. They're made of concrete. So I had it resting on here, and then what I would do is just rub the dish brush up against it. It would create a nice soap suds situation, and then I would wash the dishes with it. The problem with this is you can see, like, as it got smaller and smaller, it like broke apart, and as it gets smaller, it's harder and harder to use because it doesn't like stand up on this thing. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to order another one of these or if I'll try to find another low waste dish soap situation. I'm on the fence. So moving on to this, which is my newest addition to the kitchen. This is the Blue Land foaming hand soap. I had been curious about Blue Land for a while. I would say they're a pretty well-known company. You've probably heard of them. They were on Shark Tank, and their whole concept is this zero waste hand soap, and I think they make like household cleaners and stuff too, but basically they sell these, you know, reusable glass dispensers, and then they will sell tablets that you put a tablet in here, you fill it with water, the tablet dissolves, and it becomes a foaming hand soap. So when I was thinking about getting this, I ended up asking people on my Instagram if they had tried it. And I got a few responses of people that had used it and they really liked it. But I had one response from a girl who had done a lot of research, and she said people online are saying that the dispenser pump is really cheap and like doesn't work. So I was like, oh man. But you know, when you're on the fence about buying something, you kind of want to just believe the good reviews and ignore the bad ones. So that's what I did. For the first maybe 6 to 10 washes, it was coming out like a nice foam pump situation. And now it comes out like this. So basically it just doesn't come out, or it comes out in these like pathetic little squirts. I am really not happy about it because I just feel like this company, as big as they are, as, you know, well-funded and as much hype as they have, they should have this figured out. So I have to reach out to them. I have to email them about that. Next low waste kitchen item are my straws. I think this was the first one that I bought, and I honestly hardly ever use this one. It's just metal and it's so like stiff and solid. There were multiple times where I went to take a sip and like hit my tooth on the metal, and it's just kind of scary. This is probably my favorite one, and this is the one that I use. I have two of them. I use the other one in my water jug. In my opinion, it's the best of both worlds because this part is metal, but then this top part is silicone, so it's like bendy and soft like a plastic straw would be. And then I have some of these, which I think are really pretty. They're gold. I like the size of them. It's about the exact same size of a plastic straw, and I like that it slightly bends. It just makes it more sipping friendly than this like straight metal one. And I also have a straw cleaner brush, so every time I use the straws I make sure to clean it out with this thing, especially if you're using them for smoothies or something. You will get stuff stuck inside. You don't want to have a situation where you've got a bunch of crap in your straw, because I feel like it could build up and become moldy or something like that. This is my homemade cleaning spray that I make. I've been making this for, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years now. I think you could just make this with distilled white vinegar and water, but I added a little bit of alcohol into mine. I just thought it would make it a little more disinfecting. Not sure if it's necessary or even a good idea, but that's what I do. It's just, you know, maybe up to here of vinegar, maybe up to here of alcohol, and then the rest water. And then I also put a bunch of drops of orange essential oil in here because I just feel like having your cleaning products smell good is important, especially if it's a smell that you love, a smell like an orange or a citrus, which is sort of known to be a little bit uplifting for your mood. I mean, it makes you, I feel like, more inclined to want to use it and clean, so that works for me. Another low waste cleaning item is these dishwasher pods. These are from Drops. I talked about Drops in my Sustainable Millennial Companies video. They are just these little dishwasher pods. What goes into these is a lot less toxic than what would be in your just standard Tide pods. The best thing about these, I think, is that it comes in a cardboard box. The whole package is paper, paper tape, cardboard, completely recyclable, because before I was buying the 7th generation dishwasher pods, but those come in a plastic bag. So I get, I think, like a 4-month supply of these once every 4 months. I also use their laundry pods. This has been a great seamless transition into something a little bit more sustainable. So I really like these dishwasher pods from Drops. Moving into this corner, a couple more things I wanted to show. This is a reusable tea ball. It's from IKEA, but they sell things like these. You know, you can find these a lot of different places. I use this for my tea pretty much every day. I don't use regular tea bags anymore. It works great. That's all I really need to say about it. Also, these food huggers. So I showed these again in my Zero Waste Travel Essentials video, and that was like almost, I think that was about 2 or 3 years ago now, and I hadn't actually used these yet in that video. Now I use these all the time. I don't really use them for traveling. I only use them pretty much here. I use these a lot for lemons. It's perfect if you cut half a lemon or a lime to stick one of these on the open part. Keeps the citrus fresh. There's different sizes too. There's one that's smaller than this, and then they go up to like maybe one that's that size. I would recommend them. They're from the company Food Huggers. Patent pending. Wonder if they ever got that patent. But moving into this corner, this was actually the first swap that I ever made for kitchen stuff, is these Unpaper towels. These are from the seller Juniper Seed Mercantile on Etsy. They have an amazing store. I actually haven't bought anything from them in a while. Essentially, I think someone commented on one of my Zero Waste Travel Essentials video, but they were like, it's basically just a rag. And I'm like, yeah, it basically is, but the texture of these, it feels very paper towel-ish, and you know, obviously like the sides are all stitched nicely. These are really absorbent. I use these all the time. As you can see, they're kind of stained, but I wash them and reuse them all the time. This is the size that I really like and recommend. I'll double check what size this is. Maybe it's 10 by 10, but I've also gotten them in this size, which I think is honestly a little bit too small. I use these just for everyday cleaning, basically just however I would use a paper towel. And for that same purpose, we also use these, which truly are rags. This is an old shirt that I cut up years ago. This was actually also one of the first things I ever did. This was an old shirt that I had from Target, and I cut it up. Whatever the texture and the material that this shirt was just works really well for everyday cleaning. Another goodie from this drawer are our reusable produce bags. I got these a few years ago. I have 2 different kinds. I have the ones that are like solid cotton. I have the ones that are more kind of netting. I have all different sizes. I prefer to use these ones for things like fruits and vegetables, and then these ones are really good for bulk bins. A couple more things from this drawer are my stasher bags. I showed these in my Zero Waste Travel Essentials video. These come in handy all the time. These are so useful. Stasher now makes bags that they like stand up on their own, so I think those ones are cool. They make so many different sizes and shapes and colors of stasher bags now, and I just think it's kind of a no-brainer. Let's move on to my compost bin. This is made of plastic, but this is where we put all of our day-to-day compost. We have these compostable bags. I'll line it with a compostable bag. We put our composting scraps in there, keep it in the fridge, and then I have a composting service once a week that comes and picks up all of our compost from a bucket that they provided us with. Obviously, I wish that every city and every town had, you know, citywide composting, and that it wasn't a service that I had to pay for. But for now, I don't mind paying, you know, $30 a month to know that I'm not producing any food waste and that my food scraps are going back into the earth and re-nutrifying the soil. These are the compostable bags that we use. It's from the company Full Circle. I don't like these ones as much as other ones that I've used because they're so fragile, like they rip apart so easily, which I guess is good when you're thinking like, I guess these are really compostable because they're already breaking down right in front of my eyes. And then I started using these, they're compostable kitchen bags for regular trash. Obviously they're still going to go in the landfill, but I just feel like I feel better about using these than I do about using plastic, because I feel like at least this has a chance of breaking down at some point, whereas plastic is just going to stick around and not go anywhere. Another low waste essential are these ice cube trays. They're from the company Peak. They're silicone ice trays, so, you know, better I think than plastic ice trays. They make these nice big ice cubes. And obviously regular plastic ice cube trays, they're not single-use items, so I don't think they're the worst offenders in terms of plastic waste, but I didn't have any, so buying a silicone one just made the most sense to me. So that's it for all of my low waste kitchen swaps that I've made. It feels good to be producing less waste from my day-to-day kitchen activities than I ever have before. I'm not saying that any of these alternatives are like the perfect alternative and the way I'm doing it is good and the other alternative is bad, because I think with everything, even single-use plastic, even cotton, even silicone, in terms of environmental factors, there are positives and negatives to every single choice that we make. So you really just have to kind of inform yourself and make the choices that you feel are best. A lot of this stuff, like the cleaning products, are from the website Zero Waste Store. There's another store that I ordered the dish head brush from, which is, I think it's called Wild Minimalist. Obviously with ordering online, it does have a bit of a bigger carbon footprint, although I know that the way that these companies ship is very sustainable and they're making as little of a carbon footprint as they possibly can. But that being said, when I do order from these websites, I try to order a bunch of things that I know I'm going to need, so that I'm doing like one big order every 6 months instead of a smaller order once a month or once every 2 months. So that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it was informative. Give it a thumbs up if it was, and I'll see you next time. Bye.